Hello everyone and welcome to Monday's math session. So today we are moving on from just looking at fractions and we are looking at fractions, decimals and percentages next, which sounds scary but it's going to use all of our knowledge that we've done with our fraction work up till now, so don't worry about it. So today we are looking at how you can convert a fraction to a percentage. So we're looking at how we can get percentages from fractions, and it is really easy because we've practiced all these skills already. So based off of all our learning this term, I want you to think about what you already know about fractions, okay, because all this information is going to help you. So pause the video and have a think or a jot down, what things do you already know about fractions? Okay, you might have come up with some things like if you add or subtract them, they have to be the same denominator. That to create fractions that are a certain denominator, you have to times the top and the bottom. You might have thought about coming up with the factor bugs to come up with common factors to get fractions into. You might have thought all the way back to the beginning when we compared and ordered fractions, when you made all the fractions the same to be able to put them in order biggest to smallest. And those skills are what we're going to use today. We're going to look at converting fractions, so changing a fraction into something to get percentages. And it's really easy if you just follow step by step and sort of think about it. So, the word, no, I'm getting ahead of myself. Just ignore that I said that. First of all, and this will make sense with what I'm going to say in a second, we have got an array of 100 counters. So sort of like a 100 square, but made out of counters. Now, so we've got a row of 10 by a line of 10, okay? So 2 questions. What fraction of the array is red? And what fraction are yellow? So pause the video if you need to have a think, but don't worry if you are ready to go and you can do it quickly. So, if it's 10 by 10, I know I've got 10, 20, 30. So 30 of my counters are red. And what is the total it is out of? It's 100 square of counters. So there is 100 of them all together. So 30 out of 100 are red. So hopefully that makes sense. Now if we've got 30 that are red out of 100, we should be able to realise that then we should have 70 yellow ones left. And if we need to check and count, we can go 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, 70. So the fraction of my array that are yellow is 70 out of 100. So hopefully that's warmed your brain up and that will link in a second. Okay, so now I'm going to get to what I was so excited to say. The word percent means out of 100, okay? Which is how we're going to use our fractions to get to percentages. But how exactly do you think, and thinking about that array that we just saw that was out of 100, how is our knowledge of fractions going to help us when we know that percent means out of 100? So have a think, see if you can work it out. Because if you can work this out, you know how to convert them into percentages already. So let's have a look. So percent, the word percent means out of 100, okay? So all you need to do is you get a fraction and you make it out of 100 to get a percentage. So for example, we've got 100 square again. So you've got 10 by 10. So 20 out of 100 of this 100 square is shaded. Now here's the trick. We've got it in a fraction. Because percent means out of 100, I've made my fraction out of 100 already. So the percentage of this square that's shaded is 20%. So that is all you do. You make the fraction out of 100 because that's what percent means. And then your numerator is how much out of 100 it is. So that would be 20% because it's 20 out of 100. Hopefully that's making sense because it seems easy and it is because that's all there is to it. So let's have a look at this second one. So now it's not a total in 10. So we've got 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, 70. 1, 2, 3, 4. So we've got 74 out of 100 shaded. Because we're working with 100 squares, my fraction's already out of 100, so I can convert it straight into a percentage because I just take the top. So that means 74% of this square is shaded. So that is all you do to convert a fraction to a percentage. So let's have a look at these ones. So for example, 12 out of 100 is already out of 100 because it's given to us. So I just take the numerator and it becomes 12%. So if I have 12 100ths of something, I have 12% of it. Likewise, we can work backwards. So how would I know how much of a fraction 35% is? Well, it's asking me to do it as a fraction out of 100. I know that a percent is out of 100, so I just flip this back. So 35% would be the same as 35 over 100. So you can work backwards and forwards. Sometimes it's a little bit trickier where your fraction isn't out of 100 first of all. So all we do is what we've been doing with our fractions and we convert it. So we think I've got 12 50ths. What do I times 50 by to get 100? And I know I times 50 by 2 to get 100. So can you see? And we did this without adding and subtracting. So 50 times 2 gives us 100. I know that whatever I do to the bottom, I have to do to the top. So then I do 12 times 2, which would give me 24 over 100. So I have converted this fraction so it is now over 100 to help me out. And then I know that 24 over 100 is the same as 24%. So you just convert your fraction if it's not. Again, we can work backwards. Now we know 22% is the same as 22 over 100. And I know that 22 over 100 is the same as 44 over... So again, I need to work out what has 22 been times by to get 44. Well, it's been times by 2, hasn't it? Because it's double. So that means I have to times this by 2. So this fraction would be 44 over 200. So 44 over 200 is the same as 22 over 100. Therefore, it is 22%. Hopefully that makes sense and you're still following because I want you to have a go at some questions by yourself. So there's 2 questions. This one's a challenge question that I want you to have a go at if you're ready for a challenge. You're up for it. You completely understand where we're going. This one I want you to have a go at if you're a bit unsure and want to practice. So I've given you an example. So I started with 1/10. I've converted my tenth into 100ths by timesing it by 10, which means it becomes 10 100ths. And then that means that 10 100ths is the same as 10%. So what I'd like you to do is have a go at the other 3 questions. Pause the video and have a go. So you first need to convert them out of 100 and then that would give you your percentage. Okay, let's have a look then. So 1/5. So I need to get my 1/5 into 100ths. So what do I times 5 by to get 100? So I need to think of my 5 times table. And I know that I need 20 lots of 5 to go into 100. A really easy way to do it is if you're not sure is to take 100 and divide it by the fraction you're trying to make bigger. So you do 100 divided by 5 and that would give you 20. So you can work backwards if you're not sure and you're working up your times tables. So then I do 1 times 20 because I'm following the rule of fractions that I do whatever the same to the top as the bottom. So 1/5 is in fact 20%. Ooh. Then I've got 11 20ths. So I need to make this out of 100. What do I times 20 by to get 100? So I'm thinking of my 20 times tables. I know that I times it by 5 to get 100. So 11 times 5 is 55, which gives me 55%. Okay, hopefully we've got these ones right so far. And then the last one's really easy because we're starting with a 50. I know that double 50 is 100. So double 4 is 8. So 4/50 is 8%. Okay, so make the fraction out of 100, take the numerator, and that is the percentage, is the rule that we're taking from today. I'll just really quickly go over the challenge question in case you did that one. So 6/10, I know I times by 10 and turn into 60 100ths, so that must be 60%. 41/50, I double, so I times by 2 to get 100, so I get 82 100ths. 9 times 20, now I know I times 20 by 5 to get 100, so 9 times 20 turns into 45. Yep, 45 over 100. My brain was a bit slow then. And so that means 19/25 must be 76 100ths to 76%. So give yourself a tick if you got those ones right. Okay, let's have one final go at practicing before you go on to the worksheet. So, competitors in an archery competition need more than 60% to get to the final. What percent did each child score? So you've got 3 children and their score as a fraction. So who gets to the final? So we've got 2 steps here. First of all, we need to work out each child's score as a percentage. So we need to convert each of those fractions out of 100 and then into the percentage. And then the final bit is actually the answer to the question, who gets to the final? We need to find what child gets more than 60% to get there. So step 1 is convert all 3 of these fractions out of 100 to get their percentage, and then work out who gets to the final out of them. So pause the video and have a go. Okay, let's have a look then. So we've got 27/50. I need to make it out of 100. I know that 50 times 2 is 100. So we've got double 27, which is 54. So that means Taj got 54%. Okay, so we know we got 54. Bobby is 17 out of 25th. So we need to make this out of 100. Maybe I'll do that as a different colour so it doesn't merge in. So we times 25 by 4 to get 100. So 17 times 4 is 68. So then that means Bobby gets 68%. Hopefully you managed this one. And then Rena, let's change Rena's colour, needs to get to 100. So what do we times 20 by to get 100? And we did this in the last slide, so we times it by 5. What's 9 times 5? 9 times 5 is 45. So we know that Rena got 45%. So hopefully you managed to complete all those steps. And then the final part of the question asks you who got to the final. And it was anyone that got more than 60. So your answer would be, Bobby. Okay? So hopefully that makes sense. I think you're ready to have a go at the sheet. If you're still a bit shaky, then I would choose the easier sheet on the website. But the only thing to remember is take a fraction, change it into out of 100 by timesing the top and the bottom, and then take the numerator, and that is your percentage. If you're not sure what you times the fraction by, then divide it. So for example, if I had 25, I'd do 100 divided by 25, and I would get 4. Okay, so you can do it backwards if you're not sure on your times tables on that. So have a go, let us know how you get on, and email us if you've got any problems and you are stuck. Or come along to our help sessions this afternoon / lunchtime if you're really stuck and an email isn't going to help you, okay? But either way, don't just sit there not sure what to do.